So my name is Aline Pennisi. I work for the Italian Ministry of Economy and Finance in the Budget Division, Directorate of this ministry. Since 2012, more or less, I've been working on a number of projects that try to make data on public finance in various forms more accessible to the public and also more accessible to other government bodies. One of the biggest projects that also has a real open government perspective is called OpenCoesione. This is a web portal where since 2012 we have been publishing data updated every 2 months on infrastructure projects financed by EU funds in Italian regions or by national funds that have a general objective of territorial development and cohesion. We're talking about up to now more than 900,000 projects which are being monitored, equivalent to a budget envelope of maybe approximately 10 billion euro a year all over the country. And the kind of information that is made accessible in many different formats, whether APIs for geeks or a portal with fancy queries for people to explore what is happening in their town, is quite detailed. There is data on what kind of project has been financed, how much money it is worth, other kinds of financial instruments which are linked to, for example, if there is a private also financial envelope that is attached to the project, if there is money coming from a regional for example, government that is also attached to the same project, where the project is actually being developed, who are the beneficiaries of this project, which administration is responsible for its management, what kind of goals are behind the project. This information, as I said, is updated every 2 months with the state of financial advancement of the project, how many payments have been made towards this project, and a number of other informations where we try to have people be able to understand how the cohesion policy works and is implemented in Italy. One of the interesting things of these projects, I think, if compared to other kinds of projects on publishing expenditure, public expenditure data, is the fact that it refers to a specific fund, a specific policy. It's easier for people, therefore, to engage. People are interested not so much in how much money is spent per se. People are interested in knowing what you're doing with the money. So whether it is going to create a playground, whether it's going to be used for grants at the university, whether it's going to be used to build a highway. This is what people can really engage on. So this is why I think OpenCoesione is also a more successful project in terms of a participation. We don't know exactly how many users, real users, we know how many people come onto the website, but although we have recently, and I hope we will publish in the next few months, undergone an evaluation of the users of this project. We don't know exactly all the kinds of uses that are made, but there are a number of satellite projects that we have been caring for that help us understand how participation can grow across the publication of data. One of these has to do with another platform, which is an independent platform called Monithon, or Marathon of Monitoring Data. This is a platform where people can actually adopt one of the projects that are published on the OpenCoesione platform in their city, or that for some reason they care for somewhere around Italy, and give in qualitative information or reports on what they actually see on the ground. So there are more than 5,000 projects that are regularly monitored on this platform. People send in videos, they might send in photographs. Some people have rebuilt the whole story of the decision of how the public bodies decided actually to finance this project rather than another one, and they might give information on how people in that area, neighborhood perceive the project or how they think it will improve or worsen their everyday life. Around this project, we have also now more recently advanced a high school initiative where more than 100 high schools are working for a whole school year on adopting a project, monitoring during the school year, using digital communication to be able to engage their community in their town, and in a final public event relate the results, report the results of their findings to the public or the actual municipality. We try to get local institutions involved. I think that this is a great opportunity that you are gearing to have many people from different outfits, from different roles in society to try to debate over what kind of information would be actually useful. And I think this is already a value in itself to be able to contribute to this debate. Transparency is a very vague concept. I mean, it sounds good. Everyone would say yes to transparency. What does that actually mean and how that can actually help us is something quite different and difficult. Budgets are public. They have always been public, whether they are readable, whether they are understandable, whether they are comparable, whether you can actually, as a citizen or as even an informed journalist, be able, looking at that data, to answer the question that you would like to answer is something else. And in most cases, I think that what we have to learn is that there is a lot of possibility in having more and more data accessible on what governments do at all levels and on what is spent, and also on what kind of revenue is collected, which in my opinion is just as important as the expenditure side. But really, to be able to engage on this data and participate, we need more people to have tools to understand it, which is not only a presentational problem, it's also a problem of understanding, for example, the budget process. Actually, I think that one way to contribute to the Open Budget Initiative would be not only to map data or collect or to put in the same place data coming from different countries, but actually to understand the process of budgeting, the decision-making process, how it starts, what the intermediate steps are, who is sort of allowed to participate when, under which conditions, and what happens after during the budget year. I think it would be very important to map this, and I know that there are some organizations that are quite advanced in doing this even before open data was actually, let's say, a word that you would usually use, and maybe we should also ask them to participate to this project to help us on this. This kind of exercise is very useful to help us understand more clearly which parts of the process need to be tracked and how you can impose a kind of single vocabulary or coding system to track it. Certainly, comparability of data is a very useful and important thing, but then again, if we're referring to nations where constitutions, institutional arrangements, the responsibilities of different levels of government are very different one from another, it doesn't mean you have solved every kind of problem of understanding. The other thing is that we all know that our questions change over time. The things we're interested in one year might be different from the things we are interested in another year. It's very difficult. Data is not useful in itself. Data is useful. There is no one rule to make data more useful in one setting to another. The things or the parts of data that you will be interested in and will be useful to you depend on your question, and these questions will always change. This is why I say that, to me, the centralization of the collection of data might, in some cases, yes, it might be useful, in some cases not. But we have to be talking of a specific object to be able to understand whether it will be useful or not. But nevertheless, I think that this kind of project is a great effort, because just trying to do this helps you understand the process, and again, those aspects that every time you would like to be able at least to track. And so it helps in a very important part of understanding, which is not codified anywhere, or not necessarily codified to the extent that we would like. I think a project like Open Budget, which puts together many different stakeholders, is a project where people will learn what is interesting and what is not. We'll learn what people can do with data and what they cannot do. And this all has to do with that process of making data more meaningful. Data is not meaningful by itself. You have to give it a meaning. And this kind of debate helps giving a meaning to it.